live. I tried to do the intro again. We are live. I tried to do it. I tried to do the intro. I'm trying to make the shows as simple and as easy um, as I could. So I guess we're just gonna have to go live until we get power back. I am inside. I'm at my sister-in-law's. She's got internet, so graciously allowed me to come over and do at least a show here. We'll be continuing to set up some stuff if we feel like, or if I feel like the show is not going to be able to go live like it normally does. I do feel like we'll be able to get back to normal over the next week or so. So that is good. So, you guys, I just ask you to bear with us over the next couple of days and weeks or week or so as we're going to continue to do the show. I'm excited to be here on this Labor Day. We got a lot to talk about. A lot to talk about with LSU. I know we talked about it Sunday, but we still have a lot to talk about with LSU. And as always, guys, I'm excited to be here. I can't wait to be able to be back in the normal studio and get ready to go. But we'll make do for the time being. Everybody joining us, we greatly appreciate it. Do us a favor by hitting the like and share button. If it's your first time listening, do us a favor by hitting the like and share. Share to some Facebook groups. If you're on don't forget to like our Facebook page. If you're on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe there as well. If you're on Twitter, don't forget to hit the retweet and follow us there as well. We greatly appreciate it. But before we get started, as always, guys, we'll get to a couple comments here, and then we'll pay some bills around this thing, and then we'll get to started. Brian Pitton, as he always does, and wanting to always throw shade, but he says, "Are you going to eat crow, Blake, knowing Matt Moscona was right?" Matt Moscona wasn't right, though. So you can throw the shade that you want, and listen, I'll call a spade a spade. There are things that I was wrong about. If I'm wrong, I will tell you where I'm wrong at. There was somebody commenting about the O-line earlier. We'll talk about that. We have evidence to back up some stuff and some things that we talked about on Sunday. But you can't say, let me make this very, very clear before we get started. You cannot say that fire Ed Orgeron for Title IX. Now, we have the video where I've said multiple times where you can fire Ed for on-the-field stuff. I said you can't fire Ed for Title IX when someone tried to extort LSU for money. So, Brian Pitton, as you always do, if you want to throw some shade like that, we'll continue to talk about it as the show goes on. But don't throw that shade and say fire Ed for Title IX when you have proof that someone just tried to extort LSU and Ed Orgeron. So get your facts straight, buddy. Craig Schilling says, and we are live, that we are. Logan says, what's up, Blake? Kenny says, happy Labor Day, everyone. Robert Plaisant says, finally able to catch a show since the hurricane. Well, Robert, we hope you guys are doing well, and we're glad that you're back. Shannon said, I was super disappointed in how that game went down. So am I. Dale Broussard says, save it. O-line is not good. I'll give some proof on some things that they did do good and some things that they did do bad. I think it was more scheme that UCLA called, in my opinion, that got them there and got them the victory. But we'll get to that. Mario says, hey, Blake, go Tigers. What's going on, Mario? What's going on? Dorian says, what's up, Stormtroopers? Well, I have a feeling people are going to be mad at me, but it's all right. It's all right. But before we get started, guys, as always, I mentioned for you guys to hit the like and share. We greatly appreciate it as we are still displaced from our studio. No power and internet. We'll be getting back there soon, sooner rather than later. But we got to get a good shout out to our good friends over at GM Varno and Sons. Guys, through this hurricane, they've been helping so many people get back on the road. RV repair, big rig overhauls, motorhome chassis, routine maintenance, tire rotations, tire sales. No job is too big or too small over at GM. Give them a call today at 225-664-9992. That's 225-664-9992. Or go see them over at Denham Springs, 2500 Florida Boulevard in Denham Springs, Louisiana. And our good friends over at betonline.ag. Guys, college football's here. You got to continue to place those bets. You want to do the parlays. You want to do the 50% welcome bonus to get whatever bet you get, you'll get 50% credit off that first bonus from AYS and Believe Podcast. You got to go over to Bet Online today and place those bets as Ole Miss, Louisville. I forget what time that game is. Somebody shoot that to me in the chat. But that game's about to be on the way. Lane Kiffin will not be there, so that'll be an interesting game. But go over to betonline.ag. Use your mobile device to do it. Place that bet tonight and use the Believe/podcast who referred you. That's betonline.ag. Betonline.ag. All right, guys, let's get rolling. I'll start here with Dale. When he talks about the offensive line, guys, I've posted multiple things on my social media platforms. I've breaking some things down where I do think that the O-line did some bad things in the run game. Again, and I'll continue to – I'm not saying that they play good. I'm not saying that they played terrible, okay? What I am saying is that 5 guys can't block 7. Now, the offensive line has to get a push in the running game. But the creativity or lack thereof, creativity from Jake Peets, DJ Mangus, and some things that he wanted to do, the creativity all across the field was horrid. Absolutely horrid. And again, go look at the photos, go look at the clips that I posted and just how bad it was. I mean, guys, you got guys running wide open and Max doesn't know where to go with the football. When 5 guys are in to protect, you can't just use 5 guys to protect against 7. Sorry, I'm getting my water. You can't do that. Sorry. My mouth was getting dry. So I thought across the board, the offense didn't play good. I just thought they played really bad. I thought the scheme offensively was horrible. You try to establish a running game. You went 12 personnel. If you don't know what 12 personnel is, they used 2 tight ends. One of the tight ends was Garrett Dellinger. They didn't use Jack Bash in anything when it comes to interior of the line, which I'm kind of okay with. He would have been exposed. So it is what it is there. Like it is what it is there. So if you want to show your hand and say, hey, we're running the football and UCLA's blitzing all night. And what was Jake Peets and DJ Mangus, what were they game planning for? Because you had a game, UCLA had a game against Hawaii the week before, and they blitzed all night long. What did you think was going to change from that? Offensively, it wasn't good. Getting to Orgeron's got to stop making excuses. Go back and listen to his press conference. He's saying that, this is on Jake Peets, this is on Demonte Jones. Well, Big Daddy, you're saying that it's on the 2 guys that you hired, and you blamed Bo Pelini all last season. Well, how bad was Bo? Now, Bo was bad, and the defense was bad, but it didn't change. The only common denominator between Bo Pelini and Demonte Jones is Ed Orgeron. I mean, yeah, you can give Corey Raymond, but Corey Raymond's got the skins on the walls to where we can say that guy's a good coach. It's not on Corey Raymond when one of his DBs got an interception and this whole we're going to play zone coverage, we're going to run zone coverage. The one zone coverage that I remember very vividly that LSU ran was the Elias Ricks interception. So, you got to stop pointing fingers. Here's another thing. People in football ops. Now, this is probably going to get clipped and sent to them, but I don't really give a shit. People in football ops, stop making excuses. Stop treating the media like shit because we're not the ones getting our asses kicked on the field. So when we start asking questions and you get pissed off, that's not on us. That's on your ass. That's on your ass. So I'm tired of the excuses from Orgeron. Can he get it fixed? He's got a couple of weeks to do so. He's got 2 weeks. He's got McNeese this week in Central Michigan. And look, if you look at the Central Michigan game, I mean, Central Michigan gave Missouri all they wanted. And before you make fun of Missouri, guys, you got beat by that team last year. So you better not be making fun of Missouri. Let's just call it what it is. Brian Champagne says, what now? Where do we go next? I mean, look, I think that the biggest thing for me, the two biggest things for me offensively, it is pretty simple. Max Johnson is not a quarterback that's going to sit in the pocket and pick you apart. He's not that guy. He's not Burrow. He is not that dude. So if you want him to sit in the pocket and wait around and try to connect on passes instead of improvising with his legs, and I get the argument from everybody in Baton Rouge. I get the argument from Ed Orgeron. But you can't go out there and tell UCLA that Max Johnson's never going to run the football, because all night long during the run, UCLA sent the house, and we can put up the photos, we can pull up the film. They never respected, not once, Max Johnson running the football. Not once. Do you want to run zone option? They were crashing down hard. It was like Jake Peets and Ed Orgeron was telling Max to give it no matter what. You cannot limit that man. You can't limit that man. I get that you only have and people in Baton Rouge nationally. Oh, there's only a true freshman quarterback behind Max. You can't run him. What does that matter when you're getting your teeth kicked in? What does it matter when you're losing? You got to play to win the game. You can't play scared. Oh no, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? You got to win the football game. If it takes you running a zone read with Max Johnson and him truck sticking somebody, so damn be it. So damn be it. I'm tired of the excuses. We can't run them. Well, anyway. Jason says, I don't think the coordinators, they've had the same issue with two separate defensive coordinators. Orgeron is dabbling in the play calling. He might be, man. I mean, look, he might be. And again, the only common denominator is Orgeron. So I don't want to, I'm not going to throw Bo Pelini, and I don't think it's fair for us to throw Bo Pelini under the bus anymore at this point. Y'all see that little I'm in my sister-in-law's house. So I'm not going to throw Bo Pelini under the bus anymore. Why would I continue to throw Bo under the bus? I mean, the only difference is Ed Orgeron. Our only common denominator is Ed Orgeron. So no, I'm not going to. If you have the same issues and one common guy, I mean, at some point you got to point the finger at you and saying, and look. Here's another thing. Ed talked about this D line. Now, 2 weeks ago, you guys blistered me about this defensive line. Again, film study photos, the eye in the sky doesn't lie. When you got Ali Gay, when you got Joseph Evans, when you got Jaquelin Roy getting blown 3 and 4 yards off the football. That's not how this works. That's not how this works. So you want to continue to say that this D-line is fantastic. Yeah, they had 4 sacks in the first half. I love that. I thought the defense played good in the first half. But when you can't score, okay, you're going to have to change some things up, not just offensively, but defensively. I want to say this, too, about the defense. And I'm not sure if you guys heard today, but I'm not going to start calling out names on this one. But if a player on LSU's team starts talking about opting out, opting out of the season, if a family member of a player on this team starts talking about opting out, you better get ready for what's to come. I'm not making threats, but if you want to make threats towards the LSU fan base because, the fan base is being mean, everybody. They're fans. We're fans. Everybody's saying that I'm objective and I'm not a homer because I talk LSU sports. You're a damn liar. Your career path went down, you wanting talking about LSU athletics. So, no, don't tell me you're not a homer because deep down, all these dudes are homers. Another thing, and we'll get to more on the game stuff. So, that comes back to Orgeron when it comes to him from a culture standpoint. So, Dale Broussard says, was that our backup center, Turner, who they ran out there at tackle? Yep, they ran him out there at tackle. They ran him out there right tackle. Cam Wire, believe it or not, does not give up a pressure all night long. They pull him. I don't know if he's hurt or what's going on, but they pull Cam Wire. Then in 3 different series, they tried Charles Turner. They tried Xavier Hill and Marlon Martinez at left tackle. So either Cam Wire's hurt, but you can't say that his performance. So if Ed Orgeron says that Cam Wire's performance was bad, when we have the stats that say that Cam Wire was the only offensive lineman to not allow a pressure, you better pray to God that that man's hurt and say that he didn't do good. Because if Ed Orgeron runs out there tomorrow for his press conference and he says something to the effect about getting manhandled or whatever the case may be, guys, I might lose it. I might lose. Like, what film? Well, we did okay. No, you didn't do okay. No, you did not do okay. Sorry about the camera. We're going to be fixing that. Hopefully, we're not here much longer. Mikey says that he's extremely not happy. I'm not either. Craig Schilling says, film study by our guy Carter the Power shows the O-line didn't play as bad as everyone expects or thinks, except for one lineman. And I watched it, and I know he's talking about Shanahan, but again, when you're sending seven guys to rush your quarterback, and you only have 5 guys in to protect, and another thing that pissed me off, when you're not having running backs go out in the flat, catch passes, when you have running backs that are sitting in there to block, you have a tight end in the block. Where was the up tempo in the second scrimmage? This isn't me. So if you guys don't want to believe me, which is fine, what about when Ed Orgeron and everybody at the scrimmage said that LSU ran up tempo in that second scrimmage? Where the hell was that at? Because they didn't do it. That to me was like they got completely away from what they were doing and did something else, letting the play clock run all the way down. If you're going to blitz them all night, throw to the backs out of the backfield like Josh Williams. Let Ty Davis-Price catch the ball and get 6 yards for a first down. What does it matter if it's on the stat sheet that you don't get a rush, but you throw the ball out of the flat, because the ball's being thrown in the flat is an extension of the running game. It's an extension of the running game. If they're not going to stop it, keep freaking running it. You stupid Rudy Poo. God, that makes me more mad than anything that they're just so incompetent at times. Logan says, no point in dwelling in the past, guys. Got to move forward and look to the next game. Yeah, we do got to look forward to the next game. We got to continue to, to look forward. We got Magnish this week. So to get to that, to get to some things, and fire in your Rudy Poo of the week. Hashtag Rudy Poo of the week. Fire them in there, and we'll get to those too. We normally don't do them this show, but since we're late, we'll get to them. Some things I want to see against Magnish this week. You got to establish a running game. Regardless if you got to throw the ball out of the flat, whatever you got to do, you do it. Get creative with it. Get creative. Hey, look, Max Johnson needs to pull a zone read and get up the field. By God, do it. But Max Johnson, this whole, oh, God, we can't run Max and playing scared is not the Ed Orgeron that we hired. The Ed Orgeron that we hired didn't back down from anyone, win, lose, or draw, and he's playing timid, guys. He's playing not to lose his job right now. I don't mean that the wrong way, but it's just true. Versus he says, make Lane Kiffin say no twice. Well, we'll see. Humdog Humber on Facebook says we had major injuries. And that's another thing. Another thing that I question is, why are we having so many injuries? I'm not throwing the bus or Jack Marucci and his staff, and I don't know. I don't know who that is, but why are we consistently having so many injuries? Why? Like I don't understand that part. Like for the love of me, I don't understand that part. All right, let's get to a couple more of these comments. Dion says, O needs to go, and the coordinators. Well, let's call it like this. At some point, and this isn't really even a hot take at this point, Dion, at some point, when are we going to stop blaming Bo Pelini? Like, if you guys remember the Ole Miss game, and I did the post-game show, and I said, guys, this isn't all on Bo Pelini, and got a lot of hate for it. Legitimately got a lot of hate for it. I understand what people are saying. I said not to fire Bo. I thought that this was a deeper issue. Now, I'm glad that we let him go. I'm not saying that. I'm not mad that he's not here. I'm not saying any of that. But by God, man, by God, like us fans hated Dave Aranda at the end. We wanted to see Dave Aranda go, and it's been putrid ever since. Nothing's been fixed, and it's hard for me to believe that. Look, LSU has the better roster than UCLA, bar none. LSU has the better roster. They have nobody on that field is better than Keyshawn Boutte. Nobody on that field is better than Eli Ricks. Nobody on that field is better than Stingley. Nobody on that field is better. Look, you had the better quarterback, in my opinion. He got flustered, but Jesus, I mean, you had more talent than they did, and you got punched in the mouth, and you didn't respond from it. It's like the Mike Tyson saying, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. Well, LSU didn't. Brian says, Brian, you're a little messy, bro. You're a little messy, but I'm going to say it. Is building up this D-line like he did last year. Building up what? Brian, I mean, I know that you keep calling me out and you keep saying stuff on other people's shows, and you keep taking personal shots, but building it up where? Guys, the last two games we've seen LSU play, they've given up 517 yards on the ground. Playing it where? So at some point, you guys better start telling me, and like I said before the storm, you better start giving me more facts. Ed's building up the D-line. Where? Because you're still giving up 258.5 yards on the ground per average in the last two games. That will get your ass kicked. And it did get your ass kicked. Harold says we should be able to recruit offensive linemen by promising playing time. Well, I mean, look, they got to get better in the running game. Nobody has yet to tell me. One person tried to tell me. I've asked this question on my show. I've asked this question on multiple shows, a national show today, this show, that show, this show, that show. I've asked you guys, tell me how 5 guys block 7. Tell me how 5 guys block 7, and I'll quit. If it's the right answer, I'll quit. You get a hand on them. Get a hand on them where? You got a 300 else. How? And quite honestly, Pat, look, we can make fun of UCLA, but we could be sitting up at the end of the year, and like I said Sunday, we could be sitting up at the end of the year and UCLA wins the pack. We don't know that yet. Matthew Daigle says, what's the best thing that can happen for this team now? The best thing that can happen for this team now is they win 5 straight games. I think that would be the Kentucky game. I think Kentucky, 5 straight wins, get on a roll, get some momentum, get the jitters out, and continue to get better, really. Kyle says Panamsky will censor you. I don't give a shit. No, he won't. He can't stop me from doing my show. And let's put it like this. If you're going to censor me from my show and you got a guy out there saying that Ed Orgeron's running around with co-eds, he's not running around with co-eds, guys. Sorry, I'm sorry to tell you, but Ed Orgeron's not running around with co-eds. The woman's 40+ years old. I get that stuff off the field. Well, it's LSU's head coach. He can't go on a walk with his girlfriend. Stop with the bullshit. I mean, especially from guys and from people that we know that don't have the best track records, and you're going to make fun of Orgeron on some stuff that he hadn't done. I mean, he's walking, for crying out loud. I mean, the dude's walking around Los Angeles with his girlfriend, getting a power walk in. I mean, now the sissy blue shirt thing was bullshit. Ed should have known better. That's the kind of stuff you can't have. Jacob Cole says, hate to say it, but if we keep having lackluster play, maybe we need to give more freshmen a shot. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'll even give an example. Mike Jones. Who Mike Jones? Where was he? Where was Mike Jones? Because he wouldn't have been worse than Micah Baskerville in coverage. He wouldn't have been worse than Bug Strong in coverage. He sure as hell wouldn't have been worse than Todd Harris at safety in coverage, who, quite honestly, why they keep running that kid out there, I'm not trying to be mean. I have no idea. But that kid shouldn't be playing. Jordan Tolles had a horrible game. Look, Derek Stingley giving up at the end. So, Stephen Miller says, if when LSU loses to Mississippi State, the big name opt-outs will come. Well, if they opt out, then that's on Orgeron at this point. That's on Orgeron. That's a culture problem. That's a culture problem. Everyone do us a favor by hitting the like and share to some Facebook groups. Got to give a quick shout out to our good friend Richie Roche over at Roche's Lawn and Landscape, 225-937-7220. It's 225-937-7220. Tell them your good friend Blake Ruffino at AYS sent you on by, and our good friends over at the Drake Williams Law Firm, 985-386-7600, 985-386-7600, or DrakeWilliamsLawFirm.com. If some of those shady people who are cutting trees from your house, they give you a quote and they do you wrong, give them a call again. It's 985-386-7600. All right, let's get to a couple more comments. Sampy Johnson, what's up, Sampy, on Facebook says, secondly, Lord, this pisses me off. Where are those 4- and 5-star offensive linemen? Guys, again, go look on my social media page. I mean, you want to talk about how the O-line did bad. Again, someone in the godforsaken comments tell me how 5 guys blocked 7, because nobody in here has told me that. Derek says, at some point, O needs to stop the crap with the fans because that ain't done crap in 2 years. I agree with that, and it's not funny anymore. You know, it's not funny anymore. It's not cute. It's not humorous. It's not, it's not fun anymore. Billy sends us $4.99 on YouTube. Thank you very much, Billy. That's greatly appreciated. As we are still displaced, you guys, I can't tell you how much that means to me and my family. But he does ask, how can you have 2 99 overall cornerbacks and suck on defense? Talking about Stingley and Ricks on islands, and then 5 defenders guarding the other 3 eligible receivers. That's coaching. Well, and look, LSU's defensive line had 4 sacks in the first half and then couldn't buy pressure in the second half. LSU didn't send blitzes. LSU didn't do stunts. They didn't do anything. And Chip Kelly, quite honestly, and their game plan was, we're going to run the football down your throat and see if you can stop it. Defensively, all they said was, we don't think Max Johnson can beat us by sending the house. If he starts sending the house, then if we start sending the house and he can pick us apart, then so be it, and then we'll adjust. The 2 times that UCLA didn't send pressure in a possession was coming off of a scoring drive where Max continuously picked them apart by throwing to Trey Palmer, throwing to Kayshon Boutte, and then all of a sudden, guys, go back and watch it. I'm not making this up. When UCLA played coverage, LSU had 2 or 3 running plays for 21 yards total. That's 7 yards a carry. So LSU was able to run the football when UCLA was playing coverage. Again, you got to be able to scheme that kind of stuff open. I don't disagree with that. Whew. Thought the lights was going out again. Deion Black says, who would you replace O with if you had your choice? I don't know, Deion, if I'm going to go that far yet. I don't know if I'm going to go that far yet. I'm starting for the on-the-field stuff. So let me say this again for people that are just joining us. For on-the-field stuff, I am starting to question O at pretty much every turn. Again, from people who said during the offseason to fire Orgeron for Title IX, you just want him fired because you don't want him as the head coach. if Ed Orgeron gets fired for Title IX, let's make this clear. If Ed Orgeron gets fired for Title IX infractions, the NCAA is coming after your ass. The NCAA is coming after your ass. Why would you want a coach? Here's my question that I don't understand. Why would you want a coach fired for breaking the rules of Title IX, for crying out loud? You idiot imbeciles. You're idiots if you want Ed Orgeron fired for Title IX. Again, I can pull up the video. I said if you want to have the argument that Ed should be fired, got 313 or 312 videos where I say that at some form or fashion. If you want to pull up the film, if you want to talk on the field stuff, whatever, do not come at me with the Title IX bullshit. High Point Media says, Blake, did you see that one of our starting DNs is being paid to appear on a local show? Very strange NIL deal. Can't imagine that will be good for the program in the long run. No, I didn't see that. High Point Media, who was it? I didn't see that. Jacob Cole says, thank you. Where was Mike Jones? Who Mike Jones? I still can't figure that out. Me neither. I still have not gotten that answer. Like I still have. I've asked around. They said that, well, he kind of struggled playing in the middle at middle linebacker. Well, the kid came out and said to the media, it doesn't matter where he plays. It's what he wanted to play coming to LSU. He wanted to play in the middle, but he wants to play. So stop making excuses. Ed, let's take Mike Jones as an example. Mike Jones, okay. Somebody said it's going on the Skona show. Well, I didn't, I don't watch the show. I didn't listen to it. So Orgeron is talking about Mike Jones as an example. Where he don't really want to play. He can't play inside that well. Mike Jones does an interview and says, "Well, look, it's what I wanted to play. A great kid. It's what I wanted to play." And then all of a sudden, he says, "Well, look, whatever gets me on the field gets me on the field." So stop coming up with bullshit. Tired of it. I'm getting tired of it. Vance on Facebook says we could have beat the blitz by screen passes, dump passes, or throwing to the running back out of the backfield, or even run the ball outside. Bingo. That is how you stop 7 guys rushing 5. Guys, it's all over my social media. At what point, if we can break that down, and I've never coached a day in my life, played it a long time, never coached it. If we can see it, you should be able to see it. I mean, it wasn't non-evident that they weren't sending the house after you. I mean, your scoring drives consisted of wide receivers. Trey Palmer, for example, the one scoring drive you had to Kayshon Boutte on the stick route, you had Trey Palmer catching 3 passes for 29 yards, all 3 hitch routes. They sent the pressure, boom, Trey Palmer, boom, Trey Palmer, boom, Trey Palmer. You go down, you remember Kayshon Boutte runs a stick route, and then all of a sudden you score. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear it anymore. Jason asked a good question. All the Connor talk in camp, he had 0 touches, didn't even play. I'm not giving excuses for him anymore. I'm not making the excuses anymore. Jacob Cole says we don't have the blockers for the screen pass or screen game, in my opinion. Well, Jacob, with all due respect, how do you know without seeing it? I mean, Jacob, we don't disagree on much, but with all due respect to everybody saying we can't run screen passes, you haven't seen it. They didn't run it. So how do we know? How do we know? You going into the second scrimmage running up tempo, gassing the defense, and then never doing it once during the show. During the game. That's crazy to me. Jacob Marceau says Chip Kelly would come. Huh? Well, bring his DC. That's all I got to tell you. Happy Gilmore says it was Jordy's show last night. No, I didn't see it. Yep, I didn't see it. Brian says, do they know who to put in the game? And that's a fair question. No, I don't think they know who to put in the game. Guys, again, it's not a talent problem. It's a coaching problem. It's a coaching problem. They can lie to you all they want to and tell you that it's a person. Look, I did hear something today. I did hear a short clip from somebody locally covering the team saying it's a personnel problem. Bullshit. Look, I might say things about, the recruiting services every now and then, but they don't miss that bad. Ali Gay getting blown off the ball for literally on the Charbonnet touchdown, long run touchdown. Ali Gay is literally 5 yards down the field getting his butt whipped. And let me say this. If your son or you can't take the criticism, what do you think life's going to be like? So, guys, I'm sorry to tell you young LSU players this. I told one today that I'm close with. Known him since he was a freshman in Tangy. If you can't take criticism, what do you think your entire life's going to be like from your bosses? The only way you don't take criticism is if you're own boss. And the truth is, you get criticized more as your own boss than anything else. Anything else. Hey, you should be doing this. Hey, you should be doing this. Hey, have you thought about this? Hey, have you thought about that? Everybody's got ideas. Everybody's got ideas how you should succeed. So go out there and do what you need to do. Stop worrying about what everybody else is saying about your ass. I read the comments here. Yeah, sure. But after I get off of it, no. Kenny Russell, what's up? Kenny says, bring in Billy Napier, good offensive mind. Hell, Tulane gave excuse me. Tulane gave Oklahoma all they wanted. And so here's another thing. Let me get to this. I was asked today about traveling for the Storm. LSU traveling for the Storm, LSU going to Houston and then going to LA. Well, shit, it sure as hell didn't affect Tulane, did it? Sure as hell didn't affect Tulane. So, no. Don't come at me with that. Don't come at me with, well, we were displaced. Well, then give me the excuse for Tulane. Tulane went out there and is literally a yard away from beating Oklahoma. So, no, I'm not going to do that. BJ just appeared on Collider Show, and Booty will be appearing soon. Hey, look, man, that's NIL, brother. That's NIL. There's nothing else you can do about that. Nothing else you can do about that. Taylor Bell says, pressure got to Max in multiple ways. I agree with that, Taylor. Sometimes the running back struggled in blitz, pickup, sometimes a miscommunication by the O-line. For example, the center and guard blocking a nose tackle and landing a lump. Yeah, that was the one sack. That's a good point, Taylor. That was the only sack in the game that LSU gave up. Hey, and here's another thing. LSU's offensive line only gave up one sack. Hey, let me ask you this. Let me ask you guys this. Whose O-line was better, UCLA's or LSU? You're going to say UCLA, and I don't disagree with that. They gave up 4 sacks in the first half. They gave up 4 sacks in the first half. So now what? If you're going to say UCLA's got a better O-line and they dominated, I get it, but the first half they got their asses kicked. And here's another thing. I feel, again, I'm not going to write off Durante Jones. I'm not going to write off Jake Peets. But, look, it felt like that defense just, at the end of it all kind of just broke. I mean, you saw it when Stingley gave up. I mean, he literally gave up at the end. Everyone do us a favor. We'll go about maybe another 10, 15 minutes. Do us a favor now by hitting the like and share, fire in your questions, fire in your Rudy Poo of the weeks, and we'll get them in there. Let's see. David said, no, he is also a flash in the pan coach. I don't know what that means or who that's about. Look, if we're going to talk about new coaches, let's just call it what it is and get it out in front. Scott Woodward is anything but a conventional guy. Scott Woodward is going to go after the honchos. He's going to go after guys that are going to bring in a lot of energy and good coaches, good philosophy coaches. Kim Mulkey, Jay Johnson. Look, and Jay Johnson's killing it on the recruiting trail. Jay Johnson's killing it right now. Now, can they translate that on the field? I don't know that yet. Brought in Jimbo Fisher. We make fun of Texas A&M all we want, but guys, I'm going to, I try to keep it as real with you as I can. We can't be making fun of other teams right now. We're in a point where you want to go out and start talking trash to other teams, you better be careful and can't do it. Yeah, I did put my Tell the Truth Monday, but here's a good one from Bundy. Let's be real with ourselves. Tell the Truth Monday. Big name coaches are big time for a reason. Seems like we can't hire the big name coordinators we had to hire and we could get. O seems to be chewing up coaches and spitting them out. Why wouldn't the good one want to come to LSU? Got to be a reason. I don't know. I'm not privileged to those meetings. Seth says if Stingley is going to wear 7, I want him to go to coach and say the tight end is mine, and he ain't catching another pass. No, that ain't going to happen. That's not going to happen. King Mo says, I'm sorry, I'm going to head out. I'm going to go ahead and say it. I feel like Max is a game manager, and we need a gunslinger for this type of offense. Max would have been a perfect quarterback for Les Miles. I mean, guys, here's what I'm going to say about Max. He's in his third start. Guys, he's in his third start. Um, when you limit him in using his legs, it's not a good deal. It's not a good thing. Everybody's saying Nussmeier right now. I think it's a little too soon. But you can't tell that kid that he can't run the football. For example, do y'all remember that play when the play broke down a little bit? UCLA sent 8 guys. Max Johnson starts scrambling, and instead of sliding or trying to get a first down, he dives. He legitimately dove to try to get the first down because the coaching staff and Ed was meddling in that. Said to get down and don't take hits. Ed, it doesn't work, brother. I'm sorry. You can call me. You can say I've never coached before. You can say this. You can say that. That shit don't work. Period, dog. Period. It ain't gonna work. So you got to let the kid use his legs. If he gets hurt, I hate it. I don't want it. But you can't play scared. God, they were playing scared all night long. Had no heart. No heart. Brian Champagne's. We got to that one. Yeah, we got to that one. Let's get to a couple more of these comments. Seth Scott says I don't remember one stretch play, run play from the game. Yeah, because there wasn't one. Kyle says we haven't had a true running back since Clyde left. The offense doesn't go with an elite pass catching back. No, it doesn't. No, not at all. And honestly, a back that can break a couple tackles. Guys, it doesn't matter if you're getting 3 or 4 yards per carry. If you're getting 3 or 4 yards per carry, you're 2nd and 6. Let's say you run it again, you get another 3 or 4 yards. You're 3rd and 2. You run again, you get another 3 yards. You got a first down. I mean, at some point, put your pads down, put your head down, and run a son of a bitch over. Run that son of a bitch over. Just call it like I is, man. Stop tippy-toeing around. Dang, we ain't got no Rudy Poos of the week in here? Okay. At least I don't see any. 2000. Jesse Stevens says 2016 all over again. If we lose to State in 3 weeks, Woodward didn't hire O, and so he has nothing to tie him down. No, he doesn't. And look, the $21 million that you owe Ed, that means nothing. Guys, you were paying. What did we pay less? Weren't we paying less 3 years, $10 million? Guys, you've already fired a coach, and we're having to give him like $20+ million. Auburn did it. Look, bottom line is that you've done it before, and you're going to have to do it again. C. King brings up a good point. He says Brennan would have gotten killed behind that O-line, no doubt. He would have broke his pinky and been out for 74 weeks. So don't come at me with the Miles Brennan. Now, the only thing that I'm going to say about this, excuse me, Miles Brennan thing, I wonder how it would affect the play calling though. See, would that have let LSU run him a little bit more? I think it would have, but in reference to him playing, he was a statue back there. Shantavius McKinley, what's up, Shantavius? Says number 1822 cannot play linebacker. That's just that, and 3 and 11 are too soft. All right, we're back. I accidentally hit a button. We're back. We're back. Stay here. Stay here. Don't go. Don't leave. Tony Williams says hashtag Rudy Poo of the week. LSU coaching staff. That is mine. That is mine. Shannon Williams also says our coaching staff and being unprofessional jerks. Kyle says Blake speaking facts on Miles. Bro, I mean, the truth is on Miles. The kid would have broke his pinky toe and would have been out for 3 years. I mean, don't act like he's your knight in shining armor, because he's not. Don't mean that in the wrong way, but he's not your knight in shining armor. Again, the only thing that Miles would have affected everything would have been just simply would have been play calling. So that would have been it. All right, let's get a couple more, and then we'll get on out of here. LSU coaching. It's mine. It's mine. Look, we're going to continue to get this as we go down. Everybody's got the same Rudy Poo of the week. Ryan, give it to me again. Yeah, everybody has the same one. Dorian says Rudy Poo of the week. Ida. Yeah, that's going to be Rudy Poo. That probably. But, if as long as we're able to do the show and people don't freak out because we're displaced, I'm cool with that. And look, I got to tell you guys from the bottom of my heart, thank you for being patient with us. This is not obviously what I want to do. I want to be back and be able to have everything rolling. But we'll get back soon. Matt Hyde says, how do you not know until 45 minutes before the game that your running back is ineligible? Matt, I'm going to be a little honest. I started making phone calls today about this John Emery ineligible thing. I don't buy that shit for a hot minute. I don't buy that shit for a hot minute. Nope. So here's the main reason why I don't buy that, okay, is because per NCAA rule, if your player's academically ineligible, for any reason, you can't have him on the sideline. So I'm not buying that for a hot second. So stop lying. Danny Snow says, let Max run, free the Max. It's funny. It's really funny. I feel like with this whole Max Johnson letting him run thing, it's like the movie The Other Guys. And what's his name? Who was in the movie? Not Will Ferrell. Mark Wahlberg. Baby, I'm a peacock. You got to let me fly. Because he's a peacock, you got to let him fly. Period. You got to let him do what he does. It's like you can't limit a guy. Kenny Russell says, as a LSU fan, I'm tired of all the dysfunctionality in the program. We have teams mocking us for their hype videos. LSU is a laughingstock of football, and as a fan, that should rub you the wrong way. O is doing things that are just irreasonable and childlike behavior. Kenny, I don't disagree. Josh Smiley says, guys, Jay Ward was playing good before he got hurt. I hate that. You guys know how I feel about Jay Ward. God, that's not I'm hearing it's a shoulder and he could be out 2 or 3 weeks. But you cannot what you can't do is you can't run Todd Harris back out there. I think the kid's a great kid. You can't run him back out there. All right, a couple more, we'll get out of here. Alton Scott says LSU still hasn't developed a quarterback. Facts are facts. Well, I mean, I'm not going to write off Max yet, though. I'm not going to write off Max. Now, here's something interesting. Jacob Marceau says Scott needs to go get Dabo. Good timing to get him out of Clemson before Bama does when Nick retires. Seth Scott sends us some stars on Facebook. Thank you very much. Kurt Ball says, how's y'all's house, Blake? Good. It's just our area. It's just our area affected, guys. We still got a lot of power lines down. Hopefully, we can get power and internet and Wi-Fi back soon, so that we can run the show. But the area around our house is really affected. I think going a mile down from my house, like on the main highway, I think me and my wife Megan come like 16 or 17 down power lines or power pole, not lines, like poles. Like the poles were down. So I mean it is what it is right now. I want to thank my sister-in-law Katie Krause for letting me do the show in her house. Happy Gilmore says Rudy Poo of the week. Hashtag Rudy Poo of the week. Them knockers on Coach O's girlfriend. How are those Rudy Poo? How are those Rudy Poo? They ain't Rudy Poo, man. They ain't Rudy Poo. Stop. And here's another thing. Stop talking about Orgeron's love life. Unless you're a saint and you've got nothing wrong with you, you better stop talking about love lives. You better stop talking about that shit because you're going to get exposed on that. All right, a couple more. We'll go 4 more and then we'll get out of here. Jason Alston says, "What about Sage Ryan? He's hurt right now, got a hamstring." Mikey says tomorrow is going to be a rough day at work for me. Sorry to hear that, brother. Sorry, you're a lineman, right? If you are, thank you for your work. Brandon Reese says, "Do you think Billy Napier could be considered a home run hire, similar to Kim Mulkey and Jay Johnson?" Not Kim Mulkey. Kim Mulkey's won national titles. Kim Mulkey's won national titles, so no. Jay Johnson, maybe that could be a good comparison. Maybe so. Kenny says, "Remember, Joe Burrow wasn't developed by LSU, was Urban Meyer and Ohio State." I'm not gonna go that far because Urban Meyer legitimately said that Joe Burrow had a horrible arm and wasn't a good quarterback. So I'm not gonna go there. Remember, Joe said that he called him a sissy one time or something like that. Maybe not sissy because I'm thinking of Orgeron. Why are you going to call somebody a sissy in California of all places? You stupid son of a bitch. You calling somebody a sissy and you're getting your ass beat. Jacob says Coach is a rich single peacock. Let him fly. He's gotten fat and happy. That's for damn sure. Last one. Dominic says much love sent. Keep your head up and we'll be back in the layer soon. Yeah, I'm hoping so, man. There it is. Jake Brown. There it is. Thanks, Jake. He said Urban said Joe threw like a girl. What a liar. What a liar. All right, let's get out of here, guys. We appreciate y'all joining the show. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll see y'all soon. Y'all have a good night.